We are live for our weekly Knowledge Gumbo conversations. And as we start out every week with a reminder for you and for me, you are loved, you are smart, you are important, you are needed. Got distracted there. Let's start over. You are loved, you are smart, you are important, you are needed, you are necessary. There are holes in this world and in people's lives that only you can fill. Let's hop on and get started with the conversation tonight. Going to start off talking this week about women coaches in male-dominated sports. And this came up to me as I'm a big football fan, and I'm looking at all these coaches being fired and coaches being hired. And they're talking about the Rooney Rule, which exists, that says they have to interview at least 2 minority coaches from outside their organizations. And we know at this point it's not going to be a woman head coach because there are not enough women in the pipeline. But the Rooney Rule also extends to assistant coaches and coordinator positions. So my question is, why aren't there enough women in the pipeline that they should be interviewing for coordinator positions? I just find that really, really disheartening because there are women coaches in the NFL, but right now all women are relegated to position coaching. None are being groomed or being even considered for a coordinator's job. So I think someone needs to be talking about this because these women are not getting an opportunity, and a lot of them recently have been leaving the sport because they're hitting the ceiling and it's not going anywhere. There is a systemic exclusion of women from these coordinator positions. Because if you look at the positions that have been open and have been filled already, you have, let me look at my list here. Tommy Reese, who's the offensive coordinator, been hired for the Falcons. You have Drew Pitzik, which has been hired for the Lions. You got Dave Blau, which is hired for the Titans. Mike McDaniel for the Chargers. Eric Bieniemy for the Chiefs. And you have dozens of all these other male candidates that are interviewing for these positions, including, defensive coaches as well, because you have Steve Wilkes that was hired by the Jets. You have Al Golden that was hired by the Bengals. You have Robert Saleh, the 49ers. But as far as we know, there have been 0 women who have publicly reported being interviewed for any of these positions. And I think that's a problem. There are many women who love football just as much, and if not more, than men. And life in general over time has proven that even though players now, that you hear them on their own podcast and being on news things saying that they respect people who've actually played the game, most of the greatest coaches that are in the Hall of Fame never played the sport past high school. So for me, that's cop-out. That's promoting diva-like behavior from the players. If someone knows the X's and O's of the game and they know techniques and systems that can make you successful as a player, that's the only thing you should care about. You shouldn't worry about whether your coach pees standing up or sitting down. So that's how that's how I'm looking at what's happening right now, that there are no women being reported as having interviewed for any of these coordinator positions. You can't even consider head coaching positions until you've become a coordinator, especially as a woman. Now, a man might jump from a position coach to a head coach, but that's definitely never ever going to happen for a woman. She's going to have to go through the gauntlet, because I feel bad, especially for those who are Black and female, because Black males are already getting disproportionately looked aside for coaching positions, whether it's coordinator or head coach. And a lot of the ones that I mentioned before, they're recycled, because the NFL, if nothing else, they recycle coaches. No one is bold enough to try anything new. And when they do, and something great happens, like when you're looking at the Seattle Seahawks with their first year coach, Mike McDonald, people say it's a fluke. But it's not. If you interview these people and you give them a chance to shine, great things can happen. So, shout out to our Seattle Seahawks. What's going on, Gretchen? That's your team, right? So, they gave him a shot, and great things have happened in Seattle. If you look at the whole career of Mike Tomlin, he was on nobody's radar when the Steelers hired him. And him just stepping down after 19 years of success and never having a losing season, and which I would say, as a football fan, over the last 5 or 6 years, with very little talent brought in by the GM. But nobody's talking about that. That's a conversation for another day. But I think we need to talk about this more, about why women who are being successful as position coaches are not getting opportunities to become coordinators. And what would they need to do to make that happen? And as the NFL is growing, the number of women fans, I think we as women fans need to start saying something, because our money is just as green as the men. So that's what we're looking at now. So, all right, family, let's transition from our conversation about women coaches in football to speak your piece or save your piece. As always, I'll give you a situation and we can decide together, or if you want to agree or disagree, put that down in the comments below on whether you will speak on it or whether you're just going to be silent and save your piece and not address it at all. A friend or a family member tries to pressure you to explain decisions you're at peace with. Again, the situation is a friend or a family member tries to pressure you to explain decisions you're at peace with. Do you speak on it? Or in this case, since you're already at peace, are you saving that peace? Personally, for me, I'm saving my peace. I don't owe anyone an explanation. I guess that would change if I was married, but I would hope before I came to that decision, I would have had that conversation with my spouse or significant other before I came to the final decision. But I don't know, as women, we seem to always want to explain. And I'm trying to figure out for myself when is a good time to explain and when is a good time to just say, this is my decision. I'm at peace with it and I'm just going to let it go. Because as I get older, and I started this younger too, I have the philosophy of it's better for someone to be mad over there while I'm keeping my peace over here. So you can be upset all you want that I won't explain my decision, but I'm at peace with what I decided and where I'm at right now. So that's, you know, how I'm looking at it is just, if I'm at peace with it, we don't need to have a discussion. If you weren't a part, if you weren't close enough to me that you were a part of giving me information while I was gathering intel to make a decision, if you weren't a part of my inner circle that was helping me pray for the right answer to make to this decision, then I don't owe you anything. And I'm going to keep my peace. That's the way I'm looking at it. So let me know in the comments. If a friend or a family member tries to pressure you to explain decisions you're at peace with, are you going to speak on it? Or are you going to rest in the peace that you already have? Me, I'm resting. All right. And then we're transitioning to our final section of tonight's discussion. Something I recently learned. As I was looking into the Rooney Rule and football as far as it was concerned with women, I was like, hey, is there something like that that exists in the other major sports leagues? And I found out that there is something similar in Major League Baseball. It's called the Selick Rule. The NBA doesn't have anything like that, but then out of all the major male sports, it has the highest number of minority coaches, both head and assistant coaches. The NHL has one non-white head coach out of 31 teams and 6 non-white assistant coaches out of 72 total. But the key takeaway for me in looking through these male-dominated sports and whether they have minority coaches, especially women coaches, and these rules that are attached to it, the bottom line is the rules don't equate results because owners and GMs find ways around the rules. They find the loopholes. They do the bare minimum of what they're required to do, if there's a requirement, knowing already who they're going to hire. So it really defeats the purpose. And in that instance, like I said, I'm a big football fan, and a lot of these rules and requirements were pushed through when I was younger, and it was spearheaded not only by Mr. Rooney, who is the owner of the Pittsburgh Steelers, but also by what's his name? The coach from San Francisco, Walsh, because he created a coaching tree from himself, and he helped a lot of minority coaches get experience and get jobs. So I know it can be done. It's just that these coaches need the same exposure. They need to get in the same groups. But I don't know how, and maybe that's something we need to work out, especially all you hardcore feminists out there, how that women can get invited to the party. Because right now it's hard for minority men. And you don't want it to become a battlefield between minority men and minority women. You want them both to have an equal opportunity to succeed. You don't want it to turn into a battle like it was between men and women over the right to vote. Because Black men sold out Black women in order for them to get the right to vote, and then they were still not allowed to vote. So it shouldn't be adversarial. It should be something where both can have the opportunity to grow together. But that's it for this week's Knowledge Gumbo Conversations. I love to hear what resonated with you. So especially if you're watching this on replay, type in the comments what areas resonated with you. If you haven't already, please feel free and join us when we go deeper into these women's stories in our Knowledge Gumbo newsletter. It's where our community comes together. Thank you for your participation. Shout out to my friend Gretchen for being ride or die for me. I appreciate you. I love you. You are awesome. And for the rest of you, I will definitely see you, if not Friday in your inbox, next Wednesday for a next edition of Knowledge Gumbo Conversations.
Yeah. Beat drops heavy. Heartbeat steady. Ready.
Check the mirror. See a queen in the reflection. No doubt, full steam, no signs of deflection.